Welcome to your A to Z guide to the 2021 British Grand Prix. Formula One is the only thing coming home to England at the moment as we return to the Silverstone circuit for the 56th time in F1 history. It will be a historic weekend as it will be the first time in F1 history that sprint qualifying takes place to determine the grid for Sunday's race. This guide will break down the new weekend format thoroughly, all the new start times that you need to know, and of course the regular circuit history and track facts that will help you get prepared for the big race this Sunday. We've got a lot to go over, so let's dive right into the track facts for the Silverstone circuit. The Silverstone circuit is the birthplace of Formula One racing, as the first ever World Championship Grand Prix was held here back in 1950. The former World War II airfield has hosted 55 World Championship Grand Prix and has become one of the most renowned circuits in all of the world. The 5.8-kilometer circuit is the third longest on the calendar and is comprised of 18 corners overall, 8 to the left and 10 to the right. The high-speed demands of this track requires a high downforce setup, but straight-line speed is still crucial at Silverstone thanks to the Wellington and Hangar Straights. Your lap time is taken at full throttle 71% of the time, with an average speed of around 150 miles per hour. Pole position is located on the left-hand side of the grid, with the distance for the first braking zone being 644 meters. Silverstone has some of the highest peak G-forces of all season, as drivers will pull well over 5G going through the left-right-left slalom of Maggots and Becketts. As a matter of fact, a driver's neck will experience 35 kilograms of force side to side as they go through the Becketts and Stowe complex. In 55 Grand Prix held at Silverstone, 31 different drivers have won at this circuit, with 22 of those being of British nationality. The most successful constructor at Silverstone is Ferrari, who have taken 29% of the total victories with 16 wins all time. McLaren are close behind with 14 wins of their own for 25% of the total victories, while Mercedes' recent dominance makes them the third most winningest constructor in Silverstone, with 8 wins altogether. Only 4 current drivers have won at the Silverstone circuit, and Lewis Hamilton leads the way with 7 victories, one shy of tying the F1 record for most wins at a single circuit. Sebastian Vettel managed to pick up 2 wins in Britain back in his Red Bull and Ferrari days, as well as Fernando Alonso, who holds 2 victories here as well. Max Verstappen's lone victory at Silverstone came last season in what was then called the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. High speeds and plenty of overtaking opportunities means we're likely to see a safety car around Silverstone. Historically, there is a 31% chance of a safety car deployment, with at least one appearance in every race since 2013. Drivers can have plenty of chances to win this Sunday from various grid positions, as even though 36% of all Silverstone victories came from pole, another 29% have come from second on the grid, and an additional 18% have come from outside of the top 3. With sprint qualifying determining Sunday's grid for the race, starting grid positions will be even more intriguing to watch out for this weekend. There are massive changes to the race schedule this weekend with the introduction of this trial sprint qualifying format. There will only be 2 free practice sessions this weekend, with one on Friday afternoon and one on Saturday afternoon. After FP1 on Friday, the qualifying session for the sprint race on Saturday will take place at 6 p.m. UK time and will be a normal 1-hour qualifying session. On Saturday afternoon, the sprint race will take place at 4:30 p.m. UK time to determine the grid for Sunday's race, which will take place at 3 p.m. local time on Sunday. We'll be going through the weekend format in more detail in our weekend notes in just a moment. Let's start by looking ahead at the tentative forecast for Silverstone. It's looking like a clear and sunny weekend in Great Britain, which will be great news for the fans in attendance. The high will be on race day Sunday, as it will be 25 degrees, while Friday and Saturday will only see a high of 23 degrees. Silverstone is known to be very windy, which can drastically change the balance of the car, so keep an eye out for that. Now let's look at the tire allocation for this new weekend format. Because of the high demands of Silverstone, Pirelli bring the C1, C2, and C3 tires. Now the allocation for drivers has changed because of this new format. In Friday's first practice, each driver can only use 2 sets of tires, while the Friday qualifying session will provide drivers with 5 soft tire sets. After that, teams will use these options for tires for the remainder of the weekend. 1 set of tires for Saturday's practice session, teams get to decide which compound, and then 1 set for the sprint race, which the teams also get to decide which compound. Then you have 2 remaining sets of tires for the Grand Prix, with the teams able to choose which compound to start on. The British Grand Prix will also see the debut of Pirelli's new robust rear tire that they tested in Austria that will now be used for the rest of the 2021 season. With a totally new format this weekend, here's a simple breakdown of how it works and what the rules are going to be. So on Friday morning, we're going to have a 60-minute free practice 1 session, followed by on Friday afternoon your normal Q1, Q2, Q3 qualifying session to determine the starting grid for the sprint race qualifying. On Saturday moment, we'll have our second and final free practice session for 60 minutes. Then on Saturday afternoon, we'll have the 100-kilometer sprint race qualifying session to determine the grid for Sunday's full Grand Prix race. Now in terms of points, only the top 3 finishers in the sprint race will be awarded points. First place gets 3 points, second place 2 points, and third place only 1 point. The sprint race winner will receive a small trophy, however, but there will be no podium celebration. The finishing order of sprint qualifying on Saturday will determine the grid for the full 52-lap race on Sunday. Allowances have been made for technical elements such as the power unit, gearbox, and brakes, as well as spare parts, to avoid teams being unfairly penalized as a result of the condensed timetable. Now here are the rest of your weekend notes for the 2021 British Grand Prix. If the 2021 championship wasn't exciting enough, we now have a new weekend format to add a new element to the mix. Red Bull are on a streak of 5 victories in a row, and although they are wary of Mercedes' push to improve their car, the RB16B should be mighty quick around Silverstone. The long straights will bode well for the Honda power unit, and the high-speed corners have been an advantage for Red Bull all of this season. Verstappen's 3 wins in a row has given him a 32-point lead in the championship. Hamilton and Mercedes really like this circuit, and Hamilton's 7 Grand Prix wins around Silverstone gives him a historical advantage. However, it will all be about what kind of upgrades and improvements Mercedes have made to their car since Austria and whether they've clawed back the deficit to Red Bull. The sprint qualifying aspect means that there are more championship points on offer and more opportunities for things to go wrong or right. It's new for all 10 teams, so either we're going to get some surprises, or the new events might be much of the same as a normal race weekend. Either way, there's a lot to look forward to ahead of the 2021 British Grand Prix. It's certainly a pivotal race for Mercedes with only 2 races to go until the summer break, and they'll have plenty of home support with a full house of fans expected in Silverstone. So what are your thoughts and predictions ahead of the 2021 British Grand Prix? Do you think the new sprint qualifying format will be a success or a failure? Let us know down in the comments below and make your predictions for this weekend's British Grand Prix. Thanks very much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this series, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and of course hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We hope you guys enjoy the race this weekend, and we'll see you next week for our recap of the British Grand Prix. Until then, it's bye for now.